Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Angela Ning. I'm the General Manager of IAE Global London office. So IAE Global is a leading provider of international students recruitment. Today, we are presenting TESOL with University of Hertfordshire. So it's our pleasure to have some key staffs from University of Hertfordshire here. So we have Dr. James here today, and she is the senior lecturer of TESOL course in University of Hertfordshire. And we also have Cayman here. I'm not sure if she's here.
Hi.
Oh, hello, Cayman. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. I'm good. Cayman is from the international office, so maybe later, and you can introduce some good things like scholarship or discount or lower entry requirement for our students here.
Yeah.
Right. So let me kick off with a quick introduction about our company, IAE Global. So IAE Global actually started from a small office in Seoul, South Korea. With over 28 years, IA Global has become one of the largest and also most diverse student recruitment organizations in the world. We have become an industry leader in international student recruitment. We have a broader base of presence in major student organi- uh, original countries, as well as the destination countries. We particularly have some offices in around the world, and we have the office in China, India, Japan, Korea, Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, Nepal, and also other key market around the world with the top tier education institutions in the US, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. So the scale and the international reach of our network means we can actually offer a very good recruitment experts and a balance in diverse portfolio and nationality mix of students with a various of country. It is also means we have a very closer relationship with and also better knowledge with the institutions the students attend. So like University of Hertfordshire. So here is our London office contact details. So please feel free to contact us after this webinar. And also, if you are outside of UK, don't worry. We all have the local offices. So I can pass our local offices contact details to you. So you can contact them in your country. So without any further ado, I will turn the time over to Dr. James.
Thank you so much, Angela. So my name is Gwyneth James. I am, as Angela has mentioned, a senior lecturer at the University of Hertfordshire. That is one of my roles. Another of my roles is that I am the programme coordinator for the MA TESOL, as well as the postgraduate admissions tutor for the School of Humanities. So TESOL as a programme sits within one of the schools at the university, and that is Humanities. So it's great to be with you this morning and to talk a little bit about TESOL. I love TESOL. I've been teaching in this field for over 20 years and still really enjoy it. I love the diversity of students that I've had and I still have. I love the diversity of topics that we talk about. So the course structure, actually that's hiding there, let me move that. The course structure is either 1 year full-time or 2 years part-time, and it's aimed at graduates in a field related to either language, English or education. But you will see there I have put a little asterisk after education, and you can look down at the middle of the PowerPoint there because I do also accept graduates from any discipline, but then they would have to do 1 or 2 extra things in regard to their applications. So even just today, I have had an applicant who has a background in English literature, which I suppose is related to English, but I have asked her to write me a short essay, very specifically based in the field of ELT. So, you know, if you don't have an undergraduate degree in these 3 areas, and they are quite broad areas, I mean, education covers everything from primary to tertiary, as well as TESOL and other contexts. So don't feel feel that you're excluded. We accept pretty much anyone who has a passion, not just for the English language, but also for teaching and making a difference and making change in people's lives. Teaching is such a wonderful profession. It's really transformative. I guess you would know that, which is why you're here in this webinar. You don't have to have any teaching experience. We aim to have students on our course who have a little bit of experience, but you don't have to have any at all. And over the last few years that I've been at the University of Hertfordshire, we have had students with 0 experience of teaching and students with 3 or 4 years of teaching experience. So we cater for all, but really we are going to sort of take you from the basics all the way through 2 semesters to, not to mastery. You can't be a master of teaching after 2 semesters, but we do give you a lot of experience and a lot of practice, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. So the focus really of our MA, obviously there's theory, and some of the modules I'll talk about are theoretical. They have to be at master's level, but there's also practical modules. And so we aim to give you practice in English language teaching. Whether you want to make a career in the field academically or professionally, MA TESOL can help in that regard. And as you see there at the bottom of the slide, I've put that the practical teaching element is a central feature of the programme. But also, of course, we have a lot of academic and professional discussion in second language acquisition, second language teaching methodology, and generally the field of applied linguistics, within which English language teaching sits. So the modules, we have 9 in total. I know there are not 9 bullet points there, but we have 9 in total. So if you look at the first bullet point, I hope you can see my cursor there. I've written a practical introduction to ELT. So this covers 3 of the 9 modules. So you have 2 practical teaching modules, one in semester A, one in semester B. The academic year, by the way, at the University of Hertfordshire is 3 semesters, semester A, semester B, and semester C. And they are roughly 12 weeks of teaching for semester A, 12 for semester B. And then semester C is independent, because that is when you do your dissertation, obviously in the company of a supervisor to guide you and help you. So the practical introduction to ELT covers 2 modules in semester A, 1 in semester B, 2. That's where you'll be doing the teaching practice. And then it also covers a module called Methods and Materials in English language teaching. And that's looking at materials development and test design in particular. Then the 4th module we have is one called Linguistic Analysis in Language Teaching, and that's very in-depth analysis of the English language, where we cover all of these things that I've put in brackets here: phonology, syntax, lexis, and so on. If these are words that you don't understand, that really doesn't matter. That's the whole point of the MA. We help you pretty much to go from 0, if you have no experience or very little experience of English and linguistics, to a much kind of deeper understanding, to help you then as a teacher. You know, you need to know quite a bit about the English language to be able to teach it. Then the 5th module there is theoretical insights into how languages are learned. I would argue that you can't teach a language until you have some understanding, at least, of how it is learned. And particularly, of course, we're looking at second language acquisition, not first language acquisition. And so this is a module called Approaches to Teaching and Learning Languages. And within that module, we don't just look at SLA, second language acquisition, we also look at the role of the teacher and the role of the student, but particularly the role of the teacher and their beliefs about teaching. And we begin to sort of uncover and unpack some of those beliefs and bring them to the surface. So then we have another module called the Study of the Extent and Range of Uses of English in Global Context. Sorry, that's not its name. Its name is Teaching English as an International Language. So we look at English not in the classroom as some of the other modules do, but you know, English as it is used outside the classroom and across the world in very, very diverse contexts, and what that looks like and what it means. We then have a course and syllabus design module where you get to design your own syllabus. We have a research methods module, which most MAs have, because that will help you then prepare for your research and your dissertation in semester C. And then finally, of course, we have the dissertation, and that is the biggest module in the sense that it carries the most credits. Each of the other modules is 15 credits in its weighting, and the dissertation is 60. Then the assessment, we have a variety of assessment types. So if you were expecting to just come and write lots of essays, well, please get rid of that idea. That is really quite unrealistic, particularly in a teacher training program such as the MA TESOL. So what I've got for you here is our external examiner's report. Obviously not the whole report, but she wrote her report at the end of last academic year. And one of her comments, she had lots of good things to say about the MA TESOL, but one of her comments was this one here. She wrote, there is a variety of assessment types and the opportunities for individual students to personalise their assessed work. The use of formative tasks and feedback to help students produce their best work is also very positive. So firstly, you can see that we have a wide range of assessment types below, ranging from course book analysis to reflective logs to course design portfolio. And then, yes, we do have a couple of essays, but that is absolutely minimum in terms of how many we ask you to write overall. When the external examiner talks about formative tasks, that means that the first draft of the assignment is given to the tutor for feedback, which does not then count towards the final grade. So basically, you're writing a draft and you're giving it to your tutor saying, am I going in the right direction? It's for reassurance as well as to help you improve your writing and the content of your writing too. So formative means kind of unassessed, and then the flip side of that would be summative or assessed work. But we do use a lot of formative tasks to give you a bit of confidence, especially if you've never studied in the UK before, or if you've come back into study after a period of time away. Formative tasks are a great way of improving not just your writing, but also your confidence in writing. And then we have a variety of career development opportunities. I think that's what a lot of students understandably want to know. You know, if I do the MA TESOL, what can I expect at the end of it? Well, firstly, in terms of employment prospects, the graduates that I have taught over my time at university are currently teaching worldwide. So yes, there are a number of students, or I should say graduates now, shouldn't I, who are back in Vietnam teaching. Lynn is one of those. She may tell you about that or not, I don't know. So she is a fantastic example of a successful student. I also have students back in Pakistan and India and the United States, as well as Europe and the UK teaching. And sometimes they teach at universities, or sometimes they're teaching in private language schools. You could, if you wanted to, then use your MA to teach EAP. I don't know if you're familiar with that, English for academic purposes, or ESP, English for specific purposes at universities, as pretty much study skills, I suppose. ESP, a little bit more sort of niche, looking at particular subject areas. So many years ago, I did teach one course at King's College in London for English for specific purposes, and that was teaching chemists how to use English in their jobs. So that was a really fascinating experience. Many graduates are also teaching at FE level. Again, I don't know if you're familiar with that. FE is further education in colleges here in the UK, and for the Refugee Council here in the UK, and that would be more ESOL, so English to speakers of other languages. So refugees who have had to come to the UK, they also need, of course, to learn English. And so some of my graduates are working in that field and finding it wonderfully rewarding. And also there have been graduates progressing on to senior teaching positions. The MA can really help you with that. In the UK particularly, again, one of my graduates was able to get a senior teaching position because he had the MA. And starting their own businesses. I had another graduate go home, I think to China, as I recall, it was a while back, and he wanted to start his own business as well, his own English language teaching business. Other career options include publishing, materials writing, teacher training, PhD study, and much more. So while most people will graduate and go on to teach, there are a number of graduates who have chosen not to teach or have not been able to, and so have gone into other areas related to ELT. CPD is continuing professional development. We are members at the University of TESOL, and every month there are a variety of webinars available to attend, depending, of course, on the student's area of interest. And TESOL is an enormous association. I don't know if you've come across it. So you can pretty much find something for everybody's taste, whether you're interested in pronunciation teaching or global Englishes, or grammar, or the experiences of students learning with native speakers or non-native speakers. There is something pretty much for everybody. And then finally from me, some student feedback. So I could read this, but really when I was learning to teach, we were told don't read things out on slides if you can. So I would like to leave you for a moment or two just to have a look at some of this feedback. This was from students from last year's cohort and the year before, and I just thought it would be interesting to give you a little flavour before you hear from Lynn. So let me give you a moment, please, to have a quick read of just these selection of comments here. I think particularly I'd like to highlight that middle column. This was from one of last year's graduates, and I just thought it was a really powerful quote where she wants to emphasise that she has changed as a person. So not only has she learned more about the field of TESOL, and not only has she gained an academic qualification and content knowledge, but for me, almost as important, and the University of Hertfordshire is really very keen for students to develop as people, not just to learn more about an academic subject. We want you to have transferable skills from your degree. And so I think for me, this is a really powerful quote that she says she has changed as a person because she feels much more confident about her skills and abilities and has become more open-minded. So I think for me, that's a kind of really crucial quote. And also when you're considering studying on an MA, please don't think about it just in terms of its academic focus. You know, there is so much more to study at university than just the content. So thank you so much for listening. I think I'm going to be handing over to Lynn now.
Thank you, Gwyneth. Hello, everyone. My name is Lynn, and I just graduated from MA TESOL course at UH in September. Now I'm back to Vietnam, and I'm about to enter the labor force. I want to share with you a bit of my experience studying at UH. I want to first share some of my experience with the MA TESOL course. So I would have to begin with saying that this course is not very easy. It's really challenging, to be honest, especially for someone who has no background in teaching like me. If you want to achieve good results in this course, you would have to pay a lot of time and attention and dedicate to the studying in order to achieve the results that you want. So a little bit about myself. I did my bachelor degree in international relations at a university in Vietnam. So it has nothing to do with teaching education. But then I'm really into teaching. So I decided to choose UH to pursue my further study. And I think that was one of the best choices I've ever made, because only in 1 year, I gained so much knowledge that I would never have imagined. So in terms of the knowledge, since I have no background, formal training in education before, so everything is valuable to me in this course. So I learned from the very basic things, as Gwyneth said before. I learned from how to plan a lesson. I mean, what points we need to cover in a lesson plan, for example, and how to assess the students' weaknesses during class, and how to approach students most friendly, but still remain disciplined inside the class. And regarding the materials, how to evaluate them most effectively, and how to choose the most suitable materials for your students' levels. And we also get to learn how to design our own course and how to design our own tests. So it's quite a challenging process for a beginner like me. But then with the support from all the tutors, I gradually progress. So that is in terms of the knowledge, the theoretical aspect. And in terms of the practical side, we got to teach. We have hands-on experience teaching students from the university. So either undergraduates or postgraduate, whoever has the need to improve their English can come to our general English class. Me and my friends would take turns to teach the class based on the textbook that is chosen by us or by the tutors. And it was pretty terrifying at first for an inexperienced person like me, but then just after a few first lessons, everything just went very smoothly, and we get on well with the students, and also we are more confident with our classroom management and all the teaching as well. And during the preparation, we received a lot of support from the tutors, Mary and Liz. So they helped us a lot in giving feedbacks for our lesson plans, which points to add and which points to omit to achieve the most effective lesson. And after each session like that, we got to sit down and we would discuss our strengths and weaknesses, what we have done or we haven't been able to do after the lessons. And so that was really mind-opening for me. So as I said before, I had no background in teaching before. So all the things relating to linguistics, like syntax and phonetics, I've never got formal training before. So the modules, there's one module called linguistic analysis, and it was pretty difficult, especially for someone who has no background. But then you will have a very strong foundation after the module. That you will know a little bit more about the English language, and you will be more confident in teaching your students. At least you know how things work in the language. So I think that is one of the many great points I received in UH. And besides that, I also developed a lot in academic writing skills. So in Vietnam, we didn't receive much training and guidance on how to write effectively. But then when I went to UH, there is a module that I particularly really enjoyed. It is the academic skills, which will teach us how to use words or structures that are professional and that are suitable for writing a professional piece of work, a research paper. And that is something completely new to me. So I really enjoy learning it. And if I compare my writings at the end of the course with those at the beginning, I would see changes, big changes. And I would see my progress as very subtle. I didn't think it's significant, but I developed gradually, and I'm pretty happy with what I have achieved during the course. And I think those academic skills are very helpful for me because, if I want to be a teacher in the future, I would at some point have to teach students how to write. And, academic writing requires a lot of thinking. Besides words and structure, requires a lot of critical thinking. And that is also something that UH taught us, and I really appreciate that. Or maybe the skill is also can be applied to doing research, because especially when you're a teacher at university, you're not only a teacher, but you're also a researcher. So you have to do research and conduct studies. So, knowing how to write a piece of research professionally would be very helpful for your future career. And I think that is something that I feel really lucky to have learned at UH. One more thing, and this one I have to send special thanks to Gwyneth. Gwyneth is my supervisor for the dissertation module. She helped me get through that tiring writing process of the dissertation. I really want to share a bit of my experience writing the dissertation. It was the very first time that I conduct an interview with a stranger. I'm pretty introverted and I'm pretty shy. So just the idea of talking and asking about a stranger's life intimidates me already. But then Gwyneth gave me a lot of support and motivation, and she also provides me with a lot of reading suggestions so that I can better prepare for my interviews and learn how to form most effective interview questions. So yep, eventually the interview went pretty well, and I managed to collect some very fascinating data. So I'm really lucky to have Gwyneth as a supervisor. So yeah, I think UH course, the MA TESOL course, not only gives me a lot of basic background, like build me a strong foundation of the knowledge, but also I think more importantly builds me a skill, as Gwyneth said, transferable skill that I can apply to different areas, not just teaching, like academic writing or presentation or even group work. I learned a lot from the module, and also learn from how the tutors build and organize the class, like from observing them organize the class. It's educational for me already. so I think my experience in UH was pretty valuable and memorable. There's one more thing. The library, the LRC, it's wonderful. It's like a heaven to me. I can live there if I can. But because of the COVID, the last few months there, I couldn't went to the library to find books and materials. But then I can see the school effort to to provide more online resources for students to access even when they can't come to the library. So I can see more books being accessible on the school online library. Yeah, so I think my experience in UH was very enjoyable. And if you want to have like hands-on experience with in combination with the theory, you can choose UH, and you would have to spend your time and effort to achieve the best results. Okay, so that is the end of my sharing. I don't know if there is a Q&A session for my part, or we'll leave that at the end.
Can I just say one thing quickly, Angela, for Lynn? Lynn was amazing last year. She had a fantastic cohort. You had a really lovely group, didn't we? Well, we had a really lovely group of students. But, you know, and I don't mean just despite COVID, but, you know, you worked so hard last year. And I'd forgotten, actually, that you were from international relations background, and you did amazingly. And Lynn is very modest. So she's not going to tell you that she got a distinction overall for her MA, which is absolutely fantastic. So well done, Lynn.
Thank you.